So Northlane has been one of my favorite bands of the past decade. So something that really excited me about this album was that it was mixed by Nolly, who used to be the bassist for Periphery. The man is a mastermind behind the console and gets these massive sounding songs. I was always a fan of Northlane's older material, but since Marcus Bridge joined them, they've written some of my favorite songs. I think he's a perfect fit, and his clean vocals really add so much to the songs. This album's called Alien, and it's their 5th studio album, so let's dive right into it. Alright, let's get this album kicked off with a song called Details Matter. And wow, what a monstrous and aggressive way to open this album off. I have no idea what these guitars are tuned down to, but damn. Marcus has these spitfire, fast-paced screams. You can really feel the anger in his delivery, and this song is definitely a dig at someone. I personally like when they have these back and forth screaming sections, and if you listen closely, the bass guitar and the verses are doing some great stuff. And these breakdowns are nasty. I think this song will find its way on quite a few gym workout playlists. Overall, this song is a 4-minute long kick in the teeth and a big middle finger to all the critics saying they went soft. This one gets an 8 out of 10. Alright, so next is Bloodline. So this song was released at the end of April along with the music video. This one starts with a 9 Inch Nails kind of industrial vibe. The first verse has a really floaty melody which sits over a pretty standard drum beat. The bass groove really carries the first verse. When the guitar kicks in midway through the verse, it's got this filter on it, and it kind of sits nestled in the background. The chorus here is actually a little pulled back melodically. It's a very Linkin Park sounding chorus, so if you're into that, you'll probably enjoy it. The second verse changes things up a bit. There's a cool section where the drums drop out, and that's where the screams kick in. The drums come back in with a very tom-heavy groove and some spacey guitar in the background. Dynamically, I love this second verse. After the second verse, we go into this heavy breakdown before coming right back into the chorus. Overall, this song sounds like something that you would hear off of Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory. And I think this is the most accessible song on the album for the non-hardcore fans. It's funny, these first 2 songs have kind of previewed the 2 extremes this band is showing on the album. I think it's super catchy, I give it a 9 out of 10. So we're off to a great start. Up next we have 4D. This one starts with a catchy synth intro. The fast-paced drums and synth make it feel like something you'd hear in almost like a video game soundtrack. The drum beat carries it into the verse where these filtered scream vocals fit perfectly with the drums. The pre-chorus and chorus of the song are super powerful. You can definitely hear some of the mid-2000s nu metal influence on this track. That chorus melody just soars over these kind of pulled back instrumentals. So this bridge is absolutely filthy. You owe it to yourself to listen to this album with a decent set of speakers and a sub. The down-tuned strings just hit so hard. There's also a nice little guitar solo which leads into that final chorus. Lyrically, lines like "searching for gold in a broken home," "I'm drawing blood, blood from a stone" are incredibly deep. Marcus just has fantastic vocal delivery on this entire song, and it shows that he's a powerhouse of a vocalist. He just has great command over the dynamics of his voice. I also think the drums are stellar this entire song. This is my favorite song on the entire album. I give this one a 10 out of 10. Alright, up next we have Talking Heads, and the best way I can describe this song is that it's a little bit of everything Northlane has to offer kind of packaged into one song. Loads of electronics, these spoken word style sections, soaring clean vocals, bouncy heavy guitar riffs, brutal breakdowns, and these kind of aggressive build-ups. The song has a very genty intro and reminds me more of old school Northlane. The verse itself starts with a monotone melody, which is more percussive than anything. Quickly things pick up. The song has a non-conventional song structure, so it's hard to say which parts are verses and which parts are choruses, and this keeps more of an evolution of the song and keeps it fresh. The post-verse instrumental break almost has a Korn sound to it. There's these super low-tuned guitars with these dissonant, creepy sounding stabs. Marcus also has some great cleans over this part. Midway through the song, everything drops out and Marcus brings everything back together with this heavy chugging breakdown. Lyrically, it sounds like it's from the perspective of someone going crazy or refusing to take their medicine. This one is fun and it has some awesome guitar lines in it. I give it an 8 out of 10. Alright, so we have Freefall. So when this song starts, you think it's gonna have this gradual EDM style build-up. And right when you think you understand what's happening, this brutal guitar riff just punches you square in the jaw. The verses have some great orchestral strings in the background. I also really like the snare placement in the drum beat. It's a little later than when you would expect to hear it, and it kind of gives the song like this stumble forward motion in the verses. If you're an Architects fan at all, you're going to love this chorus. I love how bands are starting to incorporate these very melodic screams into songs like this. His vocals kind of have these long drawn out notes which work really well with the guitar riff. I think if he did anything more, the two would have fought a little bit sonically in the mix. I think if you blindfolded me, I would have guessed Sam Carter was doing some of the screams in this chorus, which is a huge compliment in my eyes. So the bridge is super interesting. I'll hand it to Northlane. They know how to write some heavy guitar riffs. Writing this script, I'm literally running out of new words to describe how skull-crushingly heavy some parts of this album are. So forgive me if I start to sound like a broken record. They also go straight from this ending bridge right into a fade out. I think this song rocks. I give it a 9 out of 10. Up next is Jinn. Here's one of the heaviest songs on the album and is more guitar than synth driven. This song bounces back between these aggressive guitar-focused screaming sections and these bright and triumphant choruses with clean vocals. The first part of the bridge has some killer drumming. The tom pattern honestly sounds like one massive drum fill, and it gives it this huge wall of sound. There's this really choppy industrial second bridge which closes out the song, which I really enjoyed. The dichotomy of the clean and heavy parts and how quickly the transition is makes this song kind of feel unsettling in a good way. I give this one a 7 out of 10. Alright, so here we have Eclipse. This song dropped at the end of July along with another music video. So this song kicks off with a really heavily distorted bass groove. This one has some influences from the industrial EDM dance songs, and it sounds like something you'd hear like an underground nightclub or a rave. It actually reminds me a little bit of Rammstein with the synth-heavy production and the dancey drum grooves. The guitars actually kind of take a back seat and let the bass and synth push this song forward. Something I like about this track is how dynamic Marcus's vocals are. Everything from these guttural lows, pristine cleans, and these in-your-face fry screams. The end of the song has this really heavy tempo drop, which is a great way to close out this track. Lyrically, the song sounds like it's about like an abusive parent or being like an abusive family. Lines like, "I was here to catch your blows, bruises, tears, no place called home," are incredibly dark, and I think Marcus did a fantastic job with the vocals and lyrics on this entire album. I give this song an 8 out of 10. Next up is Rift. The intro of this song is driven by a pretty intricate drum beat, a synth pad, and Marcus singing these soft vocal melodies on top. And it kind of keeps this up for like 2 minutes, which is a little bit long for my tastes. The song is definitely synth driven, and it eventually slowly builds up a bit. Something I'm enjoying this album is the lack of the traditional song structures, which honestly makes it challenging as hell to describe what's happening in a review and where. The song isn't my favorite on the album. I appreciate all the synth layers and the complexity into the production side, but the intensity doesn't really feel like it climaxes anywhere. It kind of feels like this slow ramp up, and right when it gets going, it just kind of slows back down. The drums do a great job of carrying the song and keeping it from being that dull, but I would have liked to see the song evolve a little bit more, but hey, that's just me. Overall, I'm gonna give the song a 6 out of 10. Paragram is up next. This song is very scream heavy. There's a pretty consistent drum beat, which drives the intro of the first part of the verse with lots of synth layers. And I love the pull-offs on the verse guitar riff. I also enjoy the tone they have on the snare for this album. It just pops right through the mix without sounding like it's like a shotgun or it just being way too much. I get a Deftones vibe from this song, especially in the beginning. Nothing jumps out too much for me on this song. The chorus underwhelmed me a little, but that's just my opinion. I give this one a 7 out of 10. So here we have Vultures. I believe this was the first song released from the album, and it was like all the way a year ago. And this might be one of the heaviest songs on the album, and it's also extremely technical. The song starts out heavy as hell, and it honestly doesn't stop until the song ends. Song structure-wise, it sounds like it almost starts with kind of this pre-chorus chorus, and doesn't even really hit a verse until over a minute into the song. I personally get some Meshuggah vibes from this song. The drum work here is incredible, and they change tempo and time signature all over the place. My favorite part of the song is where Marcus is doing more of this hybrid scream singing, and it's like I said, it's a style I see a lot from Sam Carter of Architects, and I think it fits really well here. Lyrically, I think this song might be about the criticism Marcus has gotten and how he's kind of been living in Adrian's shadow the past couple albums. And I love how technical this song is. So overall, I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. Check it out. All right, wrapping things up, we have Sleepless. I feel like every album I've reviewed this month has closed out the album with a slow ballad. This one starts with a very melancholy piano intro and Marcus singing some very reverb-saturated vocals over top. To be honest, I was not expecting the drums to come in when they did and for them to sound like they did, that intensity. You'd think that this song was gonna be a very slow-paced ballad, but then this fast EDM drum beat just kind of picks things up. I'll be honest, it's incredibly difficult to hear what the vocals are saying in the intro because they're buried deep in the mix and they got a ton of like reverb on it. And it almost feels like they're more of a melodic instrument than traditional vocal melody. And I think that was done on purpose. So this song changes pace about 2 minutes in, and this slow piano ballad turns into this epic crashing soundscape. Sonically, this song is a roller coaster, but everything kind of feels a little gradual. There's these two big crescendos which I think fit really well into the song, and I thought it was a real fun way to close out the album. I'm gonna give this one a 7 out of 10. Overall thoughts, this band caught a ton of flack when Adrian departed, and fans were worried Marcus would force them into not doing as much screaming. I remember hearing criticism saying they went soft and Marcus was unable to do these real guttural screams that their fans expected. Hopefully this album closes the case on that argument. Production-wise, I think this is their best so far. You can feel Nolly's touch when mixing this, and he's such a master when it comes to getting a killer mix. I really hope they continue working with him on future albums. I think having Nolly mix this really brought the songs to life, and Marcus feels like he's sitting in the right place in the mix versus over top or buried. Lyrically, I think Marcus settled in a bit more and was able to take in some dark lyrical content and really express himself. Songwriting-wise, this album definitely has the heavy songs, but it also has these more mainstream radio-friendly songs like Bloodline. Most of the songs either fall into to that new metal Linkin Park Deftones style or the genty Periphery Architects camp. And I love both of those genres, so this personally is right up my alley. If I had to pick 3 songs for you to check out, it would be 4D, Bloodline, and Freefall. If I was to throw a 4th in there, Vultures, because that's a great song too. Honestly, all the songs are really solid, and I've been going back and forth which have been my favorite all day. So that was Alien by Northlane. What do you guys think? If you like my reviews, please give me a comment, a subscribe, a like, and if there's albums you want to hear me review, let me know down in the comments. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you guys next week.